Morning, Minister. As we begin the season of Lent, a period that we associate with sacrifice, I want to bring to the Minister's attention the sacrifice of parents in the Dublin 6, 6W and 12 areas in relation to the provision of ASD units and places for their children. Now, Minister, you're a caring man, a compassionate man, clearly a kind man, and I want to call on all of those qualities to assist these parents this morning. You are on the record as previous ministers would be as saying the policy of your department is to ensure that all children with special educational needs can be provided with an education appropriate to those needs, and that's the context for my question this morning. Thanks, Caoirleach.
Bunyan Cash Chakta, agus dus Kaifara, Gwayan Tabershaw, Inti and the Tabok, agus Intim Lat Major Leshan, Prius Birkina, Tagash Foster. The National Council for Special Education, otherwise known in the acronym NCSE, an independent agency of my department, is responsible for planning, coordinating and advising on education provision for children with special educational needs. This includes taking accounts of the flow of students from primary into post-primary. The Council ensures that schools in an area can, between them, cater for all children who have been identified as needing special class placements. Individual school boards of management are responsible for the establishment of special classes. It is open to any school to make application to the NCSE to establish a class. In deciding where to establish a class in an area, the NCSE take account of the current and projected demand and available school accommodation, both current and planned. In this regard, the CNO, the Special Education Needs Organiser, may approach individual schools to discuss the matter with a view to finding the optimal location in terms of convenience and sustainability. When the NCSE sanction a special class in a school, the school can apply to my department for capital funding to reconfigure existing spaces within the school building to accommodate the class and/or to construct additional accommodation. Special education needs organisers who are locally based are available to assist and advise parents whose children have special needs. Where parents have been unsuccessful in enrolling their child in a school, they should update their local CNO to inform the planning process. CNOs are also available to assist and advise schools on special education supports and planning. The number of special classes in relation to autism in County Dublin have increased from 66 in the 2011-2012 school year to 197 in the 2018-2019, a threefold increase. There are 15 autism classes in the areas referred to by the Deputy, 2 early intervention classes, 8 primary classes and 5 post-primary autism classes. And I am conscious that the level of demand in a lot of areas throughout the country are increasing.
There's so little time to get into this, but the parents who have come to me and my colleague Thomas Byrne have given us a list of, based on department figures, of student enrolment figures for 2018 in ASD classes. In Dublin 6, Scoil Náisiúnta Stratford, none. Rathgar National School, none. St Joseph's Boys National School, Terranure, none. Clogher Road National School, none. Zion Parish Primary School, none. Sanford Parish National School, none. Gaelscoil Lustnanogue, none. Kildare Place National School, Clogher Louis Colleen, Ranelagh Multi-Denominational School, none. Dublin 6W, Gaelscoil Maloga, none. Harold's Cross National School, none. St Pius National School, none. St Pius Girls National School, none. Bishop Shanahan National School, no places. Bishop Galvin National School, no places, or no ASD unit, as with all of these. Dublin 12, Drimnagh Castle, no places. Lady of Good Counsel Senior Boys National School, no places. Muirna Day Corla Girls Senior National School, 6 places. Scoil Murrah, none. And a whole list, Minister, that just goes on of actually neither an ASD class nor ASD places. Now, this is really nothing short of a scandal, despite what you say in terms of the response. Can you intervene with the relevant authorities to talk to the boards of management, excuse me, Minister, in relation to the provision of classes? I mean, this is really at a critical stage. Parents are at their wits' end. I have a parent who has applied to 26 schools. looking for a place for their child with special needs.
All right. Look, it is important to point out the progress that has been made, and I know that's no consolation for a parent who is in the position they're trying to facilitate their child, but there is a process and there is a mechanism, and the mechanism is clear. There's an independent group, the NCSE, through their CNOs. They work in conjunction with the Board of Management, and the prerogative is on the part of the Board of Management to make the initial application. And then, after that process, the decision is made as to whether a special class is sanctioned or not. And you have to look at the trajectory from 2011. 548 special classes in this country. At the moment, we've upwards in 1,500 special classes. We're spending 1.75, nearly 1.8 billion euro this year on special educational needs out of the budget in the Department of Education. There has been a change in the admissions to schools policy. The question you asked, is there an intervention on the part of the Minister, or can the Minister anyway impact on this process? There is a change from the 3rd of December of last year. The Minister or any future Minister can, after the process, after the consultation, after the engagement with the CNO, after the engagement with the school, and if the Board of Management makes the application, there is a provision in the Admissions to School Act which the Minister can compel a school to build the extra class. But that's after all areas have been exhausted in the meantime. The ultimate process, the first step, is the school has to make the application, and once that process is kick-start, obviously I will be very vigilant to see where that goes after that.
Deputy. Obviously, look, Fianna Fáil secured that under the Supply and Confidence Agreement, but I've listed 37 schools where this just isn't happening, including schools where there were new developments recently and there was no ASD unit included. So you take a parent, who says to me, thanks for meeting with us, that's myself and Thomas. My son Dylan is currently at home without an education since December. I applied to 26 schools for 2018-2019. 3 special schools, 22 mainstream schools with ASD classes, and 1 other mainstream school. Now, these would be all outside of this area. He's had 3 tutors start and leave since September. A tutor agreed to teach him in early February, but changed her mind on the 4th day. We're currently paying a childminder 5 mornings a week to mind him, while a tutor who has agreed to teach him is sanctioned. I've had many meetings with our local school principal to discuss the possibility of enrolment there. I've chosen to keep Dylan out of mainstream education until education as sufficient resources wouldn't be available for him to spend the full day in school. Minister, this requires an intervention from the Minister for Education. You've considerable powers. Something's breaking down here that I can list 37 schools in 3 postal districts where there is neither an ASD unit or provision for ASD class, or for provision for children on the spectrum for their educational needs. Thanks, Claire.
Yeah, look, we're on the same page in relation to the importance of this issue. We're serious in this country. Step outside the political arena for 1 second. We're serious in this country as a society to have inclusion at the heart of our model, and whether that's people coming from different countries or people with special educational challenges, behavioural or otherwise, or autistic children. And it's not just relevant to the geographical areas that you listed there. It's Cork, it's Galway, it's Donegal, and we are meeting the challenges head on in terms of weighing up resources, weighing up what can be done within a fixed period of time. But if you look at the increase in funding from 2011, increase in number of classes, the commitment is there to build on that. But to answer your question in relation to what role I can play, my officials work very, very closely with the NCSE. The CNOs who have the responsibility, they're tasked with the responsibility of engaging with the Board of Management. If the Board of Management makes the application, there's obviously a process that's entered into there. And if they make the application in the first place, well, within the admissions bill, there is a provision there from the 3rd of December of last year that compels the Minister that if there's a demand, if there's an issue where all areas have been exhausted, but we have to spread the good news here. We have to spread the good news that the schools that have requested special classes, the schools that have really looked at this inclusion model, that it's working. I was in a school just on Monday in my home county, small school, 35 students, 5 autistic children, and they're building a new unit there, and it's an incredible story. So we have to spread the good news, just as we did with Jesh in the past.